What up, my fellow Knicks fans? This is your guy Marcellus Ease. Don't panic quite yet. Now, the Knicks were able to pull off the victory in the revenge matchup against Damian Lillard and the Portland Trail Blazers. And I thought it was very interesting in both of their matchups this season. Basically, the strength of the schedule really came into play. Now, on January 24th, the Portland Trail Blazers had 5 days off before they had their matchup against the Knicks, and the Knicks were playing 3 games in 4 days by the time they met up with the Trail Blazers on January 24th. Now, the Knicks did look a little bit lackluster, especially in that first half, but the same thing came into play in the recent matchup, which was today, in which the Portland Trail Blazers, for most of this matchup, they looked very lackluster because they were on their 6th straight road game. Now, Gilbert Arenas had gave internal insight on how the players and coaches view the schedule. You guys check it out.
You know, that's all it is looking at the schedule, and I remember we'll get the schedule, and then you'll have coaches circling, in red. And you'll be like, what are those? And they'll say, oh, that's scheduled losses. I was like, the f is the scheduled loss? And it was like, the way the schedule is designed, this is designed for a loss. This is designed for a loss. This is a neutral game. And I'm like, that looks like a home game. And it was like, well, when you've been on the road for 12 games, that first game back home is kind of neutral.
Now, there is a science with the scheduling. As we all know, when most teams play back-to-backs, that second half of that leg is usually tend to result in a loss. So the Knicks do play the Miami Heat tomorrow. I'm not saying that they're gonna lose, but the Knicks did play a lot of their starters over 35 minutes.
And I said, how's that kind of neutral? My home fans is not gonna be voting, rooting for them. Trust me, it's neutral. And I'm like, all right, whatever. And then, because it doesn't make sense, but it made sense to them. But you have the scheduled losses, 4 games in 5 nights. You're playing this team versus this team, and you try to figure out which games you're going to lose, and it's
right. The mentality of, hey, we're going to look at this game, we already know we're going to lose that. You don't want to have that mentality, but to be realistic.
But no, but the serious, that's actually how they do their scheduling, and that's how they do their planning. So they know when to have days off. So let's say we're playing, all right, we have a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, Thursday, Friday, right? And then Monday, Tuesday, we're playing Phoenix, we're playing Golden State, day off. Then we play Sacramento and the Clippers, right? So on the 5th day, you're playing the hardest team. So you have 2 options. You have the day off, and then you're playing Sacramento. So either you can rest your guys then, and hopefully they get that win, and then everyone can be fresh for Clippers, or you just get the win against Sacramento and rest against Clippers.
That's why I would say it's a scheduled win. Look at the glass half full. So we beat the shit out of a bad team, get that win because we.
But that win was already scheduled. Mm-hmm. It's that Clipper game. So you gotta remember, you planned on going 3-4. What is the 3-4? That 4th game in the 5 nights is the scheduled loss, and it's the Clippers, right? So either you take the chance to losing to Sacramento and not play everyone and rest them then to really battle against the Clippers, or you just secure the win and then you rest your guys against the Clippers and take the loss that you have scheduled anyway.
And best believe the championship and contending teams definitely take note of this. Now, as spectators, the first time we kind of really peeped this was when we seen Coach Popovich all of a sudden benching guys that were clearly healthy.
But that's what people don't understand, and the fans don't understand when a team is beating a team and like, oh, like last year, this team is better than this team, and you don't know. You can't judge it by the head-up competition. You got to see what their schedule is and how they're playing their season.
Now, with the Knicks, when we did meet up with the Portland Trail Blazers on January 24th, we had the worst part of the scheduling. But at the end of the day, we missed a bunch of open jump shots in order to take over that game in that 4th quarter. Best believe the Portland Trail Blazers defense is definitely Swiss cheese, but at the end of the day, we seen in the second matchup, we had the better advantage of the strength of scheduling, and we took clearly advantage of it. But we ended up dusting the Portland Trail Blazers. We let them come back at the end, but we were dominating them for the most of the matchup.
You know, and how they're trying to match up and trying to go forth. And that's what, you know, when you're hearing this team is better than this team, it's like, no, they're not. They're just not. It's just, I know what the TV and the people on the TV and analysts and all the smart people are supposed to be telling you, but that's not what it really is in real life.
And it tends to be that way. I agree with Gilbert Arenas, but in this circumstance, the Portland Trail Blazers are slightly ahead of the Knicks, especially that they're one of the highest payroll teams in the league, but they're not that far away from the Knicks. The Portland Trail Blazers are one of these teams that are disguised as a good team, but they're really not. They're actually not that far away on a level from the Phoenix Suns, the Utah Jazz, and Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, Gilbert Arenas also spoke about the good teams and how they manage the scheduling.
What Coach Pop was doing wasn't load management. It was team management. You know, if I have 4 games and 5 nights and my guys need a little rest, I don't mind dropping that game because it's kind of pointless to me anyway in the long run. That is not load management. That's team management. That's playing chess. You know, so what Lakers did for most of the year, chess. What Golden State did some year, chess. It's just chess moves. You know, I don't need to sit out here and get the best record in the league to do what? I just need to make sure my guys are popping at the right time.
Speaking about the right times, during a normal NBA scheduled season, in which the playoffs are about to start around April, towards that March all the way to early April mark of the season, that's when you tend to see bad teams get victories. And that's where sometimes some of us as Knicks fans throughout the years, especially when we had developing teams, we sort of misjudged our team a bit towards the end of the season, saying that guys were getting a lot better. But it tends to be because the contending teams are starting to manage their scheduling around the playoffs. So it's just something to keep in mind.
I don't see, you know, Lakers playing finals basketball in December and January. I don't see Miami. I mean, Miami's young, you know, so those guys are gonna feel they have something to prove, so they're gonna go out. But, you know, some of those veteran teams, I don't see them starting off trying to prove a point in the first 10 games of the season.
And Miami will definitely have something to prove tomorrow as they'll try to take advantage of us playing a back-to-back. So we'll see how Tibbs manages the minutes, especially with the starters, because Randall today played about 40 minutes. Everyone else was hovering around 35 minutes. It is what it is. It's always interesting to get an internal perspective, especially coming directly from the NBA players. So you guys stay safe. Until next time, peace.